All right, everyone, we are going to get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Henry Rondon. I am the CIAC liaison for softball. Welcome to our 2025 Coaches Rules meeting. Again, I hope your practices are off to a good start and that you are ready to go in a few weeks when we get going. The first thing is we always like to thank you for what you do for high school sports, education-based athletics that we have here. It is great to see so many people who are working with our student athletes and that care about these student athletes and are doing as much as possible, not only to develop them as student athletes, but of course, as a whole person. So we thank you for that. And just as, again, as a reminder from everyone here who not only is on the committee, but everyone that is working with student athletes, we just like to remind all coaches that, again, the main purpose is to work with these student athletes. Again, softball, we had a really good year in terms of sportsmanship. We want to continue this trend. And again, we had very little ejections in the sport of softball, which again is great to see and great to hear. Our goal, though, should be and continues to be that we hope that we have 0% of coaches and players who are ejected. So again, when you are speaking with your assistants, when you are speaking with your teams before games, again, I know that most of you are emphasizing this. I would, of course, continue to say to emphasize what you would like to see them be on the field, on the bench, of course, as they're leaving the field, and you, of course, as a role model, understanding what your role is with that. Again, I remind you that when you go to dispute a call with either the base umpire or the plate umpire, again, go to the line. They have been instructed to make sure that they come to you. And again, uh, address them as best as you can. Again, I know that in certain situations it can be a little heated, but we want to ensure that we are, again, addressing ourselves as best as we can, listening to each other, that whether you are the coach or the umpire, and that, hopefully you get the best answer that you can and you let them, of course, explain why they made the call. All right. So again, thank you for what you do. And I hope everyone has a good season. We're looking forward to a great season. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it on to Dr. Dana Mulligan, who is the chair of the softball committee. Dana.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much to everyone for being here this evening. I know most of you probably haven't even had your dinner yet because you came from practice, so your time here is appreciated. I'm not going to mention anything about how lovely the weather has been because I don't want to jinx anything, but I think we're off to a great start to the season. Last season proved to be some very competitive games all the way through to the very finals, and we're looking to do that again this year. So please don't hesitate to reach out to Henry or to myself or to any other committee members if there's ever an issue following a game that you have concerns with. We're happy to help you out. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that being said, we are going to move on to with that being said, we're going to move on to a rules portion of this session, and we're going to bring in our state interpreter, Hank Kutowski. So, Hank, take it away and let me know when you want me to share my screen.
Relationship with her friend, music video co-star, singer Morgan Wade.
I bet you can hear me now. Can you put that screen up now? Okay, we're getting there. Per oh. Uh, okay, scroll down. Scroll down, Henry. Okay. Go to the next PowerPoint. Can you go to the next slide?
I get the PDF, so he's going to have to open it in another screen. What you sent him is a PDF.
I didn't think so, but coaches, there's really and truly only one rule change. Um, the rule book I know says three. Um, the second one is when a batter hits a ball and it hits a runner and that runner is declared out. The batter used to get a base hit. They don't get a base hit anymore. It's scored as a fielder's choice. Um, the other one is the other rule change, and it affects two rules. Is uh, the coach from the dugout can use one-way communication to the catcher when the catcher is on defense. And that's the only time that that can be used. You cannot communicate to any offensive players. The catcher can wear that earpiece when she is on offense, but the coach is not to use that to talk to her when she's on offense, only when she's on defense. And that is to the catcher only and to no other person. Um, it's a permissive rule, which means it's allowed, but you can also use your arm pads and your other signaling devices that you've used in the past. The 12, 14, 16, red, blue, red, those are still allowed to be used. Um, and if one team is using the electronic devices, the other team doesn't have to use them, and that team that is using them is still allowed to use them. Okay? Henry, are you going to be able to get that up or not?
Give me a yes.
Folks, there's I, can you raise your hand? Were you able to hear me at least with that? Okay, that's good. All right. The rule interpretations are just changes in wording in the rule book. They don't change anything that's happened in the past. Everything has stayed the same. They're just there. And the points of emphasis are really geared towards coaches and coaches educating your players. And one of those is, uh, or the whole idea is to get good pace of play uh, in the game, back in the game of softball. And it is mentioned that um, between innings, there is a 60-second rule. Yeah. Can you keep going? Can you keep going down? Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. One more and one more. Okay. There's your rule that says that a coach is permitted to use the electronic devices. Okay. And you can see the two rules there that are affected. If you can go one more time, Henry. Next slide. This is basically the same. Okay. And that the players are allowed to use jewelry and to wear jewelry and watches and things, but you cannot use them to receive communication. Only the only communication electronically that a coach can have is with the catcher when she's on defense. Go to the next one, please. Okay. Uh, the catcher can wear that device when she's hitting, but coach don't use it. Move on, Henry. Okay, a fielder's choice now when the batted ball hits a base runner instead of a base hit. Next one. Okay, next one. These are editorial changes. Noxy seals. There's a new Noxy seal for both the batters and the catcher, and you can go two more, Henry. Okay, that's the same rule. All right, go to the next one. That's just again what is legal as far as that pivot foot landing before the non-pivot foot when the pitcher pitches, and it defines replant. No rule change. Again, move on, Henry, please. Okay. Uniforms, that's 2027. Logos, move on. Okay. Um, no smoking and no drinking anywhere on school grounds. Move on. This is just a simplified of the rule of what happens when an illegal pitch is called. Okay. Coach, you have the option of taking the penalty for the illegal pitch or the result of the play. The next one, 24 inches length and width. That's the only change there. Uh, Next, fielder's choice. That's when uh, the batted ball hits the base runner. Next one, please. Next one, that's the same, and that rule hasn't changed forever. Okay, next one. And again, Henry, a lot of emphasis on the pace of play. It's the team's role. Coaches, you are in charge of it. You got 60. The first thing is educate your players. Let them know that the umpires are timing the 60 seconds between the innings, between the half innings. Umpires are not to be using a stopwatch. They're to do the best that they can. We're going to have a lot of difficulty, coaches. You will have a lot of difficulty getting it all done in 60 seconds, but I'm sure you can do it in just over 60 seconds. And your pitcher can get those three pitches in. If she goes right out to the rubber and gets that uh, gets it done, and if the catcher is ready. Next slide, please. Okay. Offense too. If you need to huddle, you need to huddle, but have your on deck hitter ready to go when that pitch is thrown down and we're ready to start the next half inning. Next slide, please. Okay, let's keep in mind that once the pitcher gets the ball back from the catcher, she has 20 seconds to deliver the ball, and the batter has 10 seconds to get in and get ready for that to happen. Once the pitcher gets the ball, the batter has 10 seconds to get back in. All right, coach, let your players know about that, please. Next slide. Pre-game warm-ups are not rule clinics. They are just to get the lineups, go over the ground rules, and shake hands with the captains and let's play ball. Okay. Next. No hitting of the balls to between innings. You cannot hit a ball to any of your fielders, but it's okay for them to go to the next slide, Henry. It's okay to have them run, warm up. They can throw back and forth to each other between innings. Next. If you have a bullpen and a pitcher pitching and the ball from the game could possibly go to and injure the pitcher or the catcher in the bullpen, send a third person out there with a glove. All right. That's a safety one. Next. On deck hitters, you need to stay on the same side as your dugout. Sometimes the on deck circle is not 25 feet away from home plate. That's where it needs to be. You can move further towards first or third base with that on deck hitter. Teach them to be aware for potential foul balls. Next slide. We're done. Okay, I'm done, Henry. Thank you. Um, I only see one question in the chat, and I don't think it was for me. And if that is for me, why is there no appeal process when an umpire is wrong? I don't understand the question.
Possibly if coach. So possibly if I can, Hank, I believe if there is no appeal process when an umpire is wrong, maybe are we alluding to the idea that after the game is over, if for whatever reason a call went wrong again, just understand that once you leave the field and the game is over, the decision of officials are final. So just keep that in mind. That is CIAC rule all around. Next one, gorilla hold allowed.
That's Gorilla Gold, and
Okay.
yes, Gorilla Gold is allowed.
Okay. Uh, when there's an ejection, not sure. If you could, coach, if you could elaborate on that. Uh, there has been some confusion about the double base rule during the regular season play. What should umpires do if the double base is present?
They should ignore the colored part of the base, okay? And the players and the umpires should ignore the colored base and play the game as if the base was not there.
And also, please note that again, baseballs, we have some fields that have a double base. So therefore, they're going to do the same thing for the safety of the players. We are not asking that they remove the base and put a single base and then put a peg on the other side. So for the safety of the players, a double base can remain. But Hank is correct. They're going to do the same thing where basically what is in fair territory is what counts. Are there talks to change the rule for safety like other states, admins, and some college?
If the coach is talking about the double base, yes, it's talked about every year.
Okay. And if there are any other questions, again, as we continue on, if you think of something, we will, of course, answer the question. Or if there's something that after you may look at the recording and are not sure of, and something that you may have missed or want to ask, uh, please be sure you can email me. And of course, I can get the question over to Hank, and we will definitely make sure to answer your question. So if there's something that you forgot, please make sure to do so. Okay, so question is, what's the argument to not use the double base?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we'll go back to that first one, Hank. So what's the argument to not use the double base?
I don't know. Okay.
Okay, and Coach, just for your information, basically it's a pretty similar situation that's going on in baseball. So that is being debated in terms of whether or not that can be done by state adoption. Next question. The umpire is being advised to look out for the first baseman blocking the base pass because there are some that regularly stand in the line and make base access impossible.
Yeah, Yes, we are looking for interference and obstruction at plays at first base and all the other bases. Yes, yes.
I think again, probably the biggest safety concern. I'm guessing it's the low base. So probably the biggest safety concern in the last 15 years, and we still haven't changed. Why again? That is again we go by the NFHS rules, so we will look for them to continue to address that. Can you clarify info from stands going to electronics of coaches in the dugout?
It is okay to have a camera in the stands and have that camera go to the coach in the dugout. And then the coach can use that uh, to his or her players while they are in the dugout or during the course of the game.
Please address the legality of a bat sensor being on the knob of the bat.
You can use them in practice. They are not allowed during games.
Okay, good. Again, if you think of any questions, ask them. At this time, I'm going to move on to our tournament director, Trish Wilkin, who is going to just give a few updates about our tournament at the end of the season. Trish.
All right, thank you, Henry, and thank you everybody for being here this evening. Obviously, the tournament is at the tail end of everything. Just a couple of really quick things. Please make sure you update your contact information, especially if you are a new coach. There were quite a few instances last year where correspondence was coaches. We do use those email addresses to send out a number of letters as the tournament gets close. Graduation and prom dates, very important that we have those prior to the start of the tournament. So that'll be part of that correspondence that comes out. Semifinals will be at West Haven High School and the Dunn Sports Complex in Meriden. So thank you to Joe and his team and Scott and his team for putting on some great events for us there. And we're looking forward to that this year. And again, we will culminate with the finals at UConn, which has been just an outstanding venue the last couple of years. Just one thing to note, and it'll come out later. If your quarterfinal game gets moved to Saturday due to rain, please note that those games must start prior to 3 p.m. We will not be allowing night games on that evening. We need time for our transportation to be arranged, schools to make some plans, and our officials to be assigned. So if we get to that, quarterfinal games will all start prior to 3 p.m. on that day. And that's my report.
All right. Thank you, Trish. Again, we'll continue on with the questions. If a third base coach high-fives a player coming around the bases after a home run, can that home run be voided if the opposing coach brings the issue, or will the umpire make the call to take away the home run because the player was touched by either a coach or teammates who might touch player before they cross home plate?
Okay, the umpire should not void rule it out on a high five and a celebration on an over the fence home run and a celebration and a high five between the batter runner or the batter and the third base coach. It is not an appeal play. If the opposing coach goes up and says, "Hey, she touched her," uh, it is not an appeal play. Uh, Umpires should rule on it. They should basically ignore it if it's a celebration. And it, the umpire that calls somebody out there has made a mistake.
Thank you.
Coaches, keep your players back between third base and home plate so that the umpire can see the home run hitter touch home plate. So keep them behind the plate.
Okay. I put my email in the chat so that you can have it again if you forget, or if somebody came in late. Again, this is being recorded and will be posted on the CIC softball site. If you have a question, again, same thing. If you have a question during the year after the games begin, please feel free to email me and we will make sure to answer your question. Sometimes the opposing team's bus runs late or has a long ride. Is there a certain amount of time for the umps or home team to allow for warm-ups for the opposing team?
Yes, we will go with the tournament rule, which is once that team arrives and gets off the bus and gets ready to go to the field, we'll start the game in 30 minutes.
Okay, we'll give it a couple minutes. Again, any other questions? And like I said in the beginning, again, the meeting is being recorded. I just want to ensure, again, if you want to show it to your other coaches, please feel free to do so. They may have some other questions. Same thing with your sub-varsity coaches. If they are not on the meeting, please feel free to show it to them. Will we also be getting the slides along with the recording? The recording will be on the CIAC softball site. Hopefully, it should be going on tomorrow. So the official warm-up time is 30 minutes. Again, Hank, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's really if a team shows up late. Other than that, it's really up to the two teams.
Correct. And again, we're talking pace of play, and we'd like to start games as scheduled. But we realize that you have more issues with your bus drivers, just like you do with your umpires.
Okay. Okay, so at this time, again, thank you to Dana, Hank, and Trish for their contributions. Again, my email is on the chat. Please feel free to email me if you have a question. Again, we will answer it as quick as possible. Again, the meeting is being recorded. Please feel free when it's on the site to show it to your other coaches if they are not on this. At this time, we are going to turn it over to Scott Oresco and begin the coaches portion of the meeting. So again, thank you and hope to see everyone out there.
Good
Go ahead,
luck to
Scott.
everyone.
Yep.